What's up, man? We are live.
Hey
Hey
friends.
friends.
So we'll give people a couple seconds, but what's going on, man? Thank God for technology, right?
Dude,
Dude,
yeah,
yeah,
it's it's
it's
funny.
funny.
My
My
life
life
hasn't
hasn't
changed
changed
that
that
much
much
other
other
than
than
from
from
4
4
o'clock
o'clock
on
on
because
because
I'm
I'm
alone in
alone
the
in the
woods
woods
all the
all the
time
time
anyway.
anyway.
But
But
I
I
feel
feel
that
that
like
like
draw
draw
to
to
see
see
people
people
that I
that I
didn't
didn't
realize the
realize the
school
school
was
was
meeting
meeting
that
that
need
need
until
until
now I
now I
can't go
can't
to
go
the
to the
school.
school.
And
And
Amber and
Amber and
I
I
have
have
been
been
kind of
kind of
like
like
going
going
out
out
of
of
our
our
way
way
to, if
to,
we
if we
can, go
can, go
see
see
people
people
without
without
touching
touching
them,
them,
you
you
know?
know?
Right. What are you doing? Like park walks and just waving?
Yeah,
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 dude.
dude.
Chuck and
Chuck
I
and
have
I
been
have been
doing
doing
like a
like a
park
park
walk a
walk a
day
day
where we
where we
just
just
stay
stay
6 feet
6 feet
apart,
apart,
and
and
that
that
doesn't
doesn't
change
change
anything,
anything,
which has
which has
been
been
nice.
nice.
But
But
Yeah.
it
it
sounds like
sounds like
even
even
that
that
might
might
be
be
taken
taken
away
away
for a
for a
short
short
while,
while,
so
so
that'll
that'll
be
be
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, they just closed the park down the street, Blueberry Hill, where we would go hiking, and it's definitely throwing a wrench in things, but we're making do. Luckily, my house, we got like the woods in the back. We're
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
man,
in
outside.
you're
the
in the
wild
wild
anyway.
anyway.
Yeah. So man, that let's just dive right into it. That's what I want
Let's
Let's
do
before
it.
do
we
it.
before we get too metaphysical, which we
Okay.
tend to do from time to time. I wanted to ask you like things obviously are different, and you're the kind of guy like not only do you appreciate solitude from time to
hmm
time, you thrive on it and you need it.
hmm
Probably more than anybody I've met. And it's not
Yeah.
like you're a hermit, but it's like you use your solitude to let things gestate and things grow mentally, right? And then that's how you contribute to the world.
Yeah.
Um, but what about now? Like, what are you noticing? Like, what about is it too much solitude? Are you still able to produce without the added benefit of human contact to like maybe fuel it? Like, what's changing?
Yeah, right. So what's changing? So I realized I was talking to who was I talking to last night? I was talking to Big Jimmy James. We stopped by to see him, and we are talking about the idea that when you are living a life uniquely your own, you you make the path, you forge the path by walking, right? To use Joseph Campbell's idea, because there isn't a path because you're the one walking it. So by going through the brush, you create it, and when you look back, there's a path, but there isn't in front of you, and there never is because you're doing something new and genuine that's your own. And we're juxtaposing that against, like a common prescription on, do X, Y, and Z, and you'll have a good life. But the point is like, if you're gonna forge your own path, the only way you're gonna find recognition that you're doing it is looking inward, right? Because the external world will gratify doing things that are the social norm that make sense to the external world. But when you're looking for recognition that what you're doing is right for your soul, the only answer is to be found in your soul. So you have to look in. So in response to, going outside, getting alone in the woods, like that's the time to get alone and quiet so you can look in. So it's funny that you have to go outside to get away from everything and everyone just so you can actually go inside. So that hasn't changed, but I do notice, dude, I did notice in the park that people are kinder. Like I swear to God, like when you walk by someone now, they acknowledge you in a way where they didn't used to, almost out of like a desperation where just like, okay, we made eye contact, we exchanged words,
Right.
like
It's like
pacifying
a
that need.
boost to the soul. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've noticed that, and that's been really cool to share those minimal interactions with strangers that, in a weird way, kind of suffice for the minimum viable product of normalcy and community.
Yeah. Strange, nevertheless.
What about
So
you guys? How are you adjusting?
we're all right, man. I mean, the weird thing is, it's not too far off of our daily lives yet.
Yeah, yeah,
Like we were talking about before we went live, the biggest challenge, man, and it breaks my heart, and some of you guys could probably relate if you have kids, is trying to explain to Scarlett why she can't go play with the kids down the street,
bro,
and
that's
explain
tough.
to her why she can't see her cousins, and it's just weird because she's not old enough yet for me to be like, "There's a global pandemic, baby, and if you go near other people, you might get sick." Like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can't say that to her, and that's been the hardest thing. But man, we circle the wagons well, and if we do anything well, it's that. Like we're very self-contained people.
hmm
The number one thing for us, obviously, is and for me, is not being at the school and not being around the guys and not like feeling people like sweating on me and like that side started to really kind of get to me. Luckily, like we're staying busy, and a lot of people are.
hmm
Maybe too busy, but like moving the academy online has my creative juices flowing, and finding ways to like completely rethink my teaching methodology, which I had perfected over 12 years, to how do people learn at home by themselves or with a
Now you start
wife or
over.
with their kids
Yeah.
in a completely different environment. And that's been almost like fulfilling, you know, which is weird because this is like an awful situation, but we're making do.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, dude, because it's like you've been preparing for this for a long time. Talk a little bit about like Thoreau and Walden,
Mm-hmm.
how long he was at the pond, why he did it, and like what he found, and like give like a brief background on who he is if people don't know Walden.
Dude, we haven't talked about Thoreau in
I
years.
know,
That's awesome.
I know.
I'll do my best to brush off the memory. He was there, pretty sure, 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days, and it was on Ralph Waldo Emerson's land. Who, because Thoreau couldn't afford that stuff. He was a school teacher. He didn't like teaching kids. Admittedly, he was like, "This isn't for me. I'm out." And he just borrowed Emerson's land, and he went away because the same idea we just talked about, right? When there's so much hustle and bustle and stimulus. Like there's so much stuff vying for our attention. And he felt that, what was it, 150 years ago? I'm not sure if that timeline lines up, but imagine how we would have felt now where,
Yeah,
dude, every
like what do you
radio,
think? What was vying for his attention then? Like
people. I think
just
he
people.
also, he had some personality things going on where if he lived today, he'd probably be diagnosed with like various, what we would call disorders, just because
Right.
it's not normal. But yeah, he went alone because we all strive for connection, whether it's connection with other people or, with our intimate families or ourselves. He found that connection, that union with what was bigger than him, being alone in the woods. So he went away, and then Walden was the book he wrote because he went to Walden Pond about his experiences while there, which is it makes no sense because he seemed to have lived a life being selfish and only concerned with himself and, relieving his own suffering and whatnot. But then he wrote this beautiful manuscript that's a gift to all of us on how we can free ourselves. So there was definitely like a conflict there where he supposedly was living away from people in isolation, but then he spent so much time and effort building this thing that was only going to help people be more connected long term. So it's like a weird contrast.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So you and Amber don't have kids.
Correct.
So in a lot of like me and Melissa, just at least once or twice a day, we say to each other, "This would be a breeze if we didn't have the girls." And anybody who knows me knows my girls are like my lifeblood, and they make me melt.
Amazing.
But I still have a lot of books to read. I still have a lot of things I want to write, and a lot of things to think about. And parents at home right now are finding that you have a lot more time with your kids, and that's great. But at the end of the day, like it's time for bed, and you realize you had no downtime. You had no time to yourself whatsoever. So let's say I can find 20 minutes, 30 minutes. How do I make the most of that? Like how do I don't know. Let's call it meditate. Let's be mindful. How do I teach myself, train myself to not just pick up the phone, and how do I make the most of a half hour of quiet and solitude?
Yeah. Dude, that's the question. So I'm going to preface it, and then hopefully I won't forget to answer the question. If I do, remind me. I'm going through, I go through phases like in what I'm studying, and you always tend to gravitate toward whatever need you have. And then, you read those kind of books, you listen to those lectures, and once you've reconciled yourself with that problem, you move on to a new problem. So I've been going through a heavy Ram Dass phase where if anyone has Netflix, going home, it's Ram Dass Going Home on Netflix. It's half an hour. It is absolute gold. It's a meditation in itself just by watching it. That's invaluable. And then on Amazon Prime, there's a longer documentary about him that just came out called Becoming Nobody. It's an hour and a half. It's all just clips of his lectures and an interview he did later in his life. Gold. And I'm currently reading his book, Grist for the Mill, which is so, apropos of what's going on now, where it essentially says that whatever you are experiencing, that is your curriculum, that your soul needed to learn whatever lesson you needed to learn to continue on. So he says, so many people make the excuse of like, oh, I would be enlightened if I could leave my kids and my job and my wife and go off to the Himalayas and find a guru. And it's that idea that, if you can't find it now, you're never going to find it. He says that no, what you're experiencing right now is your karma, your dharma, and it's meant for you. It's you're a human being. Try taking the curriculum. So my response to that would be like your curriculum for learning these things, your vehicle and vessel, is your familial responsibilities. And I think just when you kind of shape it like that, you no longer have an aversion to the things you're experiencing, and you recognize that all of it is grist for the mill, that it all serves you, that you can use this as the vehicle for your continued awakening. Now, that being said, I mean, you brought up meditation. You know how like in jiu-jitsu, when you start making progress, you think you suck?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the better you get, the more you're aware of the lack of skill you possess, and it just gets like worse and worse. I think I might hopefully be making progress in being present, because I am just constantly chastising myself for all the ways I'm fleeing the present moment. Dude, like reaching for the phone, or even, dude, it's insidious that like rather than sit and do nothing, like you say, you know, what do they say? It's just don't do, or what do we say? It's like don't do nothing. Don't just sit there, do something. And the Buddhists say, don't just do something, sit there. Because it's so freaking hard to do. So I'll watch, like pick up the book, and my ego, like, oh, dude, you're doing a good job studying these things. You're learning. This is a valuable use of time. But really, I know that I'm just fleeing from the present moment and like.
Should be. All right, so it said we could continue. I think so. Yeah, dude. We were talking about meditation.
Imagine your awareness is like a sky, and your thoughts are clouds. Clouds will pass along the sky. You don't want to cling to the cloud. You can welcomingly observe it, take it in, and then pull yourself right back to the present moment. So I think that's the best way. And then you just set a timer, like I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes, and you just do it for 5 minutes. And that's an invaluable training session round for your mind training. And then over time, you progressively do it longer and longer, and each practice becomes more in depth.
Nice. Looks like we were having audio issues. How we doing, guys?
No audio.
Damn it! I heard you though, so I got a good lesson. Screw these guys. They don't.
We have audio now. Thank you, Alan Kerwin. I miss that dude. He's an awesome human being.
Alan's okay. Alan, are we doing?
He's
Is there
okay.
still an echo from Chris or no?
Can you hear us?
There's like a 15-second delay, I think. We're figuring this thing out, guys.
That's right. We're evolving.
All good now. Cool.
All right, Peter, what else you got? What should we talk about?
Dude, here's what I want to talk about, man. Let's be candid here.
Let's go.
Let's let people peer behind the screen a little bit. Like when this whole thing broke, like when it first happened, like let's be honest, like you and I are very, very confident people, right? Shit. So, we're confident people, and we know that I'm just going to hold my microphone.
Do it.
Like we know that like given enough effort and opportunity, we will succeed in things. Yeah. But we were shitting bricks. Actually, the truth is this: I didn't shit bricks right away. When this thing first broke, the coronavirus broke, I was just confident. I was like, look, we'll ride it out. It'll be a few weeks, man, and like over those few weeks, we'll stay in touch with our community, and we'll bring it right back in, man. But then reports start coming out of Italy and Spain and France and now other countries. We're we're kind of looking into the crystal ball of what the future is going to look like. That's when I started shooting bricks a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like, if we're going to be honest, like the landscape is changing for our industry, right? Like
Yeah.
what we have built our lives upon is the ability to put our hand on somebody's shoulder and
Hmm.
tell them like what they're capable of and show them how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's not really the case right now, right?
Yeah.
So at first I thought, man, this is like everything that I've done in my life, in my adult life, has brought me to this moment where like the school is thriving and we're doing so good. We have so much momentum, and man, let's be honest, life is built off of momentum. You
Hmm.
do one thing properly and then it lets you do the next thing right. And when you do that for a decade, you have this incredible life, right? Just like
Yeah.
in jiu-jitsu, you show up every day, you build momentum, and you get to where you want to be. And I'm there, I'm where I want to be. And then
Yeah.
it's like the world is like, whoa, wait a sec. No,
Yeah.
lock the doors, don't go back.
Hmm.
Um, and then my thought in my deepest despair, which lasted an hour, like an hour, guys, was now I can't influence my community. People like how do we do jujitsu now? And then it dawned on me, and I don't want to sound cliche or corny, but people need jujitsu now more than ever.
Yeah.
And the corny side of that is like we need to still have that jujitsu mindset, and we still have to, of like overcoming, which is true. It's true. And I try to
Mhm.
avoid cliche, corny things because people like they just scoff at it and like it passes through one ear to the other. But it's true. Like we've
Yeah.
been preparing, literally preparing for this on the mats for something like this for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But man, let's go a little bit deeper, like the actual like physiology of it and the actual psychological aspect.
Hmm.
People are in their houses now with only their loved ones. They
Yeah.
need to be in contact. They need physical contact with their loved ones. Like
Yeah.
me and Scarlett rolling around, like we're hugging and we're laughing. Me and Melissa, we're filming things, we're touching, we're hugging.
Yeah.
Like people need that physical contact, and they need a way to keep their kids focused and
Yeah.
engaged more than just putting on YouTube, yoga on YouTube. I tried that. It was fun for 10 minutes, but it's not
Yeah.
engaging.
Yeah.
So the truth is, and I want to know your thoughts, like is jiu-jitsu over or is jiu-jitsu more necessary, more needed than it's ever been?
Dude. I mean, I think it's more necessary than it's ever been, but some people don't have the opportunity to meet that need, right? Like if you're living alone, you're not doing jujitsu with anybody. You can do all the solo movement stuff and you can train your mind, but
Right.
what you talked about, the big significance of the practice of just intimacy, and that word can be used in many forms. Training jujitsu is intimate.
Yes.
That's why we got so close, right? If you have a wife or a husband who
This is all from
train,
your
you're good to
forehead,
go.
Chris, all these scars.
Yeah, that's right.
Bastard.
You're welcome. Yeah, if you have someone you can train with, that's incredible. I mean, just filming instructionals for our online academy with Amber was awesome, to get to do jujitsu in that limited capacity with her. But I think now is the time where, yeah, do whatever jujitsu you can, but you can train other aspects of your jujitsu and other aspects of yourself so that when we do get on the mat and when we do reconnect with other people, we're better for the time off. I mean, everything, again, it's cliche, right? Everything is a gift. And it's cliche. A lot of people won't hear it, but it is a call to resourcefulness where it's like, what have I been neglecting that I now have a unique opportunity to focus on and transcend? Like Jocko Willink's idea, his simple metaphysic of good, good. It's time to reiterate.
Right.
Good. It's time to work on this. So I think, remember Jordan Peterson's idea where he sits on the edge of his bed and he calls it a form of prayer where he asks, what stupid things am I doing right now that 20 years from now are going to really mess me up?
Yes.
If any of us and everyone watching sits down right now and says, how can I use this time, this month, whatever it is, to serve me, to serve my continued evolution? What do I need to do to feel the serotonin boost of progress, to find positive emotion? Dude, there's limitless stuff we can do. Like, bro, you should be woodworking. Like, you're going to actually build a legitimate arc by the time this thing is over. Like, I know that would fill you up. I know reading would fill you up. Writing would fill you up. You got the physical stuff down. I think there's stuff for all of us. Like, I know personally, I'm using this, like I was saying before we got cut off, I flee from the present moment all the time. And I'm going to use this as training to force me to not flee from the present moment.
Right.
And if this is a month-long process, like what a gift. I've been using the excuse that, my spiritual life could really reach the next level if I could just go away for a month and live in a monastery. Well, boom, here you go. Problem solved.
Yeah.
My apartment's my monastery. So any one of us, there's countless things we could work on. Or bro, maybe time to work on your marriage, and your relationship with your kids. You have no excuse not to come out of this more connected with your loved ones. Like Amber and I are I think, better and closer than we were a week ago as a direct result of this. So I would reframe it as not woe is me, this coronavirus is destroying my business and my work, so on and so forth. It's how is this lockdown going to be of maximal benefit to me? How is this a gift? Now, the awful health problems aside of the suffering that everyone's going through, right? Like say you're in the lot that is unaffected by this other than inconvenience. How can you use this to serve you? And you can. And it's just a matter of will you use the opportunity you're given?
Right. I like that. What's up, Murph? He just dropped a comment. I'll throw out there that the community of BJJ is more valuable now than the practice.
Yeah, right.
So here's what I want to touch on that too. And man, I won't name names. One of my students, she got quarantined. She got cleared. She wasn't positive, but she lives by herself. Like you touched on that. So, we miss jiu-jitsu and we miss working out with other people, but you miss people. Luckily, we have technology, right? And that's what I think you and I both have been scrambling the last week to figure out.
Yeah.
Not how do we teach jiu-jitsu online. We'll figure that out. That's easy, right? Because
the jiu-jitsu part's easy.
The jiu-jitsu sport, but I don't care if it was. I said this before, and I'll probably say it again. If it was only about jiu-jitsu, then Marcelo Garcia online would be broken down from too many enrollees. Keenan online would be shut down. It's not about how to pass the guard. It is a little bit, and you do have to have credibility in that respect, which we do.
Yeah,
but
it's about the
how
tribe.
do you keep people together? How do you build a tribe? How do you keep the community strong? My goal now, and this is all I think about, man, and I'm sure you do too, is how do we still serve our community and how do we let them know that we still care? How can we make people be seen? So I think the mistake a lot of school owners are making right now is how many videos can I put out? Look, guys, I'm still teaching how to do the armbar. I'm still teaching how to choke. You're being seen. The instructor's being seen. That's great.
But the students aren't being seen.
Yeah, I want to see you guys. I want you guys to be seen, and I'm figuring that out. Zoom calls and things like that. And I'm lucky I have an amazing coaching staff. We're gonna get this done. But that's it, man. The community. How do we keep the community strong? How do we make sure people feel seen? What do you think?
Dude, I mean, you're better suited to answer that than I am. I mean, I'm struggling to do that as well. We spent a week of scrambling to build an online academy where I didn't talk to anybody. There wasn't time. It was how can you build an online academy in 6 days? We had a big, group call with our instructors, which, dude, just being on the phone and seeing all the little faces pop up and just like you guys, we have an incredible instructor team, and to see their kids come up to the webcam and say hi, I felt closer because of that.
Right.
But I don't know, and I hate to use this expression, but I wonder if it's look, it matters, but are we polishing a turd by trying to connect in this way? I think all the connection helps. Bro, seeing you right now is so much better than just being on the phone with you.
There's your
it's
answer.
Better. There is. But I almost, and maybe this is just my personality revealing itself, I view us all as, you told me a long time ago that everyone in the academy serves a different function. Everyone plays a role, from the brand new white belt to the black belt head instructor. Everyone is equally valued.
Even the jerks play their
Even
role.
the jerk. You need one of them. And they all are a cell in the organism. And I think right now, if it's almost like we're all demarcated to be isolated cells and we don't get to interact with the rest of the organism, but that time will pass where we all come back and homogenize back together and we're all serving the same function. So I kind of use it as you have an obligation to us to make the most of this time and do the best you can and work on yourself so that when we can reconnect, we're all better for it. So it's almost we're all kind of on an island, and things like this keep us connected and keep us closer and remind us of the value of our tribes. But right now, you're castaway, right? You're on your island, and it's a call to extreme ownership. To how can you grow and learn through this, because you have an ethical responsibility to yourself to be successful in this short reprieve of normal life. But you have an obligation to us that when you come back, you have more to give for having gone away. In a weird way, it's like we're all on our hero's journey, but your hero's journey is you're going off into the unknown of staying home, you know?
Yeah.
But what can you find there that when you come back to the academy, you have something to give?
Man, I think people are gonna come out of this, and I don't want to, guys. Like, don't get your news from me. Like, I'm not a news source,
I have no idea what I'm talking about either.
right? But from a lot of things that I read and the projections, like we might not be on the mat, like we might not see each other in any capacity for a couple months. Like we might,
Dude, that's
and I've got
crazy.
different ideas. Like eventually, like with good testing and some treatment, not cure, some treatment. I could see a future not too far down the road where maybe we have classes of 10 people or less. And like
Mhm.
when testing becomes as easy as like a 45-minute swab, which it looks like they're pretty close to doing.
Yeah.
And don't rip me up if I'm wrong, guys. This is optimism. I could see that where we're like in a small group setting. But I think the important thing that just like when you look at black belt, when you walk in the door as a white belt and you see the black belt, you're like, okay, yeah, that's like an imaginary creature. I can't be that.
Yeah.
We're going to get out of this, even if it's 6 months. Guys, like, if you have to sit in your house for 6 months,
Bro.
don't look at it as 6 months of sitting in your house. Like,
Yo,
look
what
at
an
it.
opportunity.
Yeah,
What an
you might.
opportunity. Like, if I could go back to college now, I would triple, quadruple major in things of value, right? Literature, philosophy, everything. I went to college to play Madden and lift weights. Like I got good grades, but I didn't really learn a lot. Like, we all you get a chance to start over.
Right.
Whatever skill you've wanted to learn, you can learn. I mean, you get a chance to, bro, all of us should come out of this jacked, right? We should all be in way better shape than we were. Like, you've no excuse. There's
Dude,
no
I'm getting
commute to
pretty
work.
ripped up.
There's no
It's only
work.
been 2 weeks. I'm getting pretty ripped.
And you were shredded to begin with.
I'm excited.
But yeah, we all have an opportunity to use. I mean, I guess there are going to be two types of people that come out of this, right? Those who are better and those who are worse. And I think most of the jiu-jitsu community, being people who willingly seek out the difficult path, will come out better. But then it's
Right.
a question of how much better are you going to be? Are you going to survive it? Or are you going to like view it as this is a gift for my continued evolution, and just grow because of it? Like it's a gift if you choose to receive it.
Right. Right. Yeah, man,
Now,
that's the
again,
key.
that being said, like a lot of horrible things are happening to a lot of families, and we're not downplaying that. It's just if you are sheltered from it, use the time well.
Right. Right. All right, man. You got anything else you want to add? I think that's a good start. You and I can. I would
Dude,
love to
let's
do
do
this
this a
every
lot.
day with you.
I would love that. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Anything to add?
How about your books
Uh,
online, your courses online?
oh yeah, dude. Yeah, no, we're both doing that. So all right. You know how we said that we're all cells in an organism? I think my role as a cell in the organism of the jiu-jitsu community is very simply to remind people of how valuable our practice is and why it matters. And my biggest fear is that a lot of our students and students across the board, in taking time off the mat, are going to forget why jiu-jitsu is so valuable. We're going to forget why we make the sacrifices we do to be there. So we built some courses out based around some of my books. We have a kids one and two adult books right now. And it's solely based on reminding people of this is the value of our practice and why it matters. So if we can keep thinking about jiu-jitsu and keep feeding our mind with good ideas, and maybe take the time now to articulate its purpose, where we can use this as a warm-up for the next 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of training, and really pre-frame it in a way that makes sense for the rest of our lives. My hope is that these courses can do that, as well as all the instruction and that kind of stuff. How about you? Like, what about your online courses? How's that going?
Oh, that's good, man. I'm uh, I'm just trying to rethink and think outside the box of like how do we it's not if it was only me putting my jujitsu expertise into an online platform, that'd be easy. And
Yeah.
again, like it wouldn't have that much value. Like what I'm trying to reframe myself into thinking is how do I help people hold themselves accountable and keep the community tight? So again, like that's how do I structure classes? How do I structure like long-term learning with
Yeah.
accountability, the lack of me being able to put my hands on you in mind.
Yes.
But I'm confident that I'm figuring it out. Like I feel good about where we're going. So if you guys are a
Dude,
student of ours, be excited. It's gonna be the best of the situation.
yeah, I have no doubt that Pete and I are both, we're responding as best we can to provide as much value as possible, in that it's a rare opportunity where we all get a chance to become an autodidact. Like you are now in charge of your own learning. We're still your accountability partners, but in a much different capacity. So you take that extreme ownership to be the master of your own fate and learn. And we're going to do the best to figure out what resources are of use to you so that you can be your own captain. And that's, I think our job, Pete, is just to figure out what are the best things we can provide for our students to use as tools in building their own, curriculum, essentially,
Right.
which is no small task, but we'll figure it out. I think it's a constant iterating process.
Very good. Listen to this. The last thing I want to add
What do you got?
is I miss training with you.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's been a long time, not only because of the coronavirus, because of your injuries and such,
Yeah.
but one of the things that not being able to get my hands on you and train with you and have you beat me up and pass my guard, it makes me really appreciate the effort that we did put in when we had the opportunity. And it's
Yes.
also going to make it so when we do get back to it, I get to like really reconfigure my approach to training. I've always
Hmm.
thought about longevity, right? But
Hmm.
this is going to really highlight in your mind, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, if you were maximizing your time on the mat. And it's going to
Yeah.
help you when you come back to the mat, not take anything for granted. But we didn't. We did not take anything for granted. We were smart enough with the foresight enough to
Yeah.
know they were the good old days when we were still in them, right?
Yeah. That's for everyone watching. Like I think I called Pete last week, and I was just like, dude, I was thinking about what our 20s were and how we literally had the agoge that like the Spartans had, where we just committed our lives to jujitsu, like for a decade of just, I'm going to get as good as I can and train as much as possible. And when I think of all of the distractions that we could have felt privy to that we didn't, and I think it was out of love for the craft, but really out of love for each other and the community that we built, like I'm so grateful for that. I mean, that's the 20s are the foundation for the 30s, which are the foundation for the 40s. And I think jujitsu gave us an amazing foundation for what's to come, for the dad and the husband that you've become.
Right.
And now we were in the good old days as the purple circle. Now our good old days are different with different responsibilities, right? But
Yeah.
a time will come when you'll look back at right now and be like, man, that was perfect. Like how we're all looking right now at 3 weeks ago when we were complaining that our knees hurt, but now we would give anything to have our knees hurt to
Yeah.
train.
My
Like,
knees feel great, and I've never been more upset about it.
bro, yeah. So I think we need to record a video, all of us right now, desperately expressing our need for jujitsu and our desire and how much we miss it. And then on the first day back that you don't feel like training, watch that
Right.
video so you can sell yourself on why it's important.
Right. And one more thing before I let you go, because I know you got a ton of stuff going on. The other opportunity here is this. Like, one of the things that we always do at my academy is we really highlight like the OGs, the original like Dirty Dozen or so students. And I really I prop them up in high regard for a couple of
Yeah.
reasons. One, they deserve it. Like, I literally built the academy on their backs.
Mhm.
Two, because it makes the guys who aren't OGs like kind of want to be in that, and like
Yeah, no doubt.
this is an opportunity. Like, like in 10 years, you guys are going to be the students who made it through coronavirus training. You're going to tell stories
Oh,
like, we used to train in our friggin' living rooms. I used to
yeah.
train with a couch cushion. I used to do arm bars on a broomstick. You guys
Yeah.
have it easy. Like
Yeah.
that, you guys have virtual reality learning.
Dude, right? Imagine that. Yeah, imagine 5 years from now what that learning looks like.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get like T-shirts made for the guys who make it through this. It's gonna be a crew. There's gonna be the OG crew and then the Corona crew.
The
You guys made it
Corona
through.
crew.
It's an opportunity.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, that's it. And I hope everyone does. I mean, some people are going to fall off, but the more at-home learning we can do to remind ourselves of the value of the practice, the better our lives will be. Like Professor Almeida always says, no one quits jujitsu and is better off for having done it.
No, no. All right, man. You're the man. Thanks for talking to me.
Dude, it was a pleasure. Great to see you even through a screen.
We'll talk to each other soon. Tell Ambi I said hello.
I will. Likewise. Tell the girls I said what's up.
All right, later, brother.
See ya.